Just briefly, I'm going to talk about today. I normally don't like to show you what is coming in the future, but for today, I want to make an exception and talk about two new products that we are going to come out with. What is up, people? It's been a while since I've seen a camera and I've missed you. We're going to talk about some updates and what's been going on lately. I figured we'd do a little update today about what's been going on at Holmes Hobbies and around the shop and the hobby house and everywhere else. It's been a little bit since I have seen the camera, so more than likely there's going to be a little bit of delay for one of our releases. I'm not the type to apologize for that sort of thing, so that's just what's going to happen. And the reason why that happened is because my wife got COVID and there was a little bit of time where we had to quarantine, and that means no filming. But there's certainly worse things in life than not filming, such as the health of my wife, and she's been recovering just very fine, and it's good to see that young people may not have too much issue with this sort of thing. But we also had some guys around the shop. One of our employees, his wife got it, so he had to be absent for a while, and it's made things a little tough. We've been behind on customer service because of it, and I feel like going into essentially the cold and flu season, it would be good to mention that we may have some more outages, if you will. And it's going to be the same for everybody around the country, around the world, though. So probably not even news to you, but it's starting to affect me. And kind of wondering, has it affected anybody out there? Has this affected you personally? Have you gotten COVID yet, or somebody in your family? Have you had to go through the quarantine? Or maybe you just know some people that have. It seems to be kind of spreading around like a pandemic might, should, or could. We're certainly seeing a lot of it around town, but that's probably enough on that subject. Don't want to dwell on it too much because it's definitely being talked about in the news enough. Moving on, it is cold outside. I don't know what this stuff is with the winter all coming in and changing and everything, but we finally had some frosts around here in mid-Missouri, and it's kind of nice to see some weather change. I don't know about you, but I like the four seasons. The four seasons. I would love to do some snow skating this year. I don't know if my knee is going to let me. Anybody else into winter sports? I really liked it before I injured myself out on the Colorado mountains, and maybe one day I'll get back into it. But it is pretty fun stuff. Not really a snowboarder myself, but I do like snow skates, which is kind of like a skateboard, if you will, or a single deck small snowboard with another deck on top. They can be single layer or they can be dual decks. I personally like the dual layer decks because it's like surfing, or it's really like being on a snowboard, but you're just standing on a platform and you got to control it with your feet and how you're positioned on it, much like surfing, which I've never done, but I kind of assume, especially when it's powdery, the way that it surfs around and feels is nearly identical. But those snow sports are quite fun. Anybody else into them? Let me know in the comments. We are going to be coming out with new ESCs and new motors soon. Really exciting for me because I've been working on ESCs for a while. I've been working on motors, of course, for 15 years now, but I have felt kind of stagnant on motors here lately. And of course, we've come out with new stuff here and there. This last year, 2020 or 2019, which year is it? Wow, it's gone by so fast. 2020 has been certainly no slouch as far as new releases, but I have felt stagnant because ESC technology really hasn't changed much. And because of that, you get limited in motors, at least with brushless motors. In brush motors, you can do whatever you want to do, and the controller really isn't going to change for the most part how it acts, although in the future with new controllers, I can change that. But with the brushless motors, we've been kind of stagnant, and now I'm at the point to where I can think of some new ideas. And just briefly, I'm going to talk about today. I normally don't like to show you what is coming in the future, but for today, I want to make an exception and talk about two new products that we are going to come out with, hopefully within the next, let's just say, few months. The first one is a 6-pole motor. I think we've decided on 6-shooter for the name. Didn't really want to go down the gun route on purpose, but everything is just lining up. So this one's going to be called the 6-shooter. The first variant that we have is a stubby length, so the same as our Puller Pro stubby. Matter of fact, it's the exact same housing because why redesign what works very well. But new stator, new rotor design, and it is very smooth starting on both the Castle ESCs, the Castle-based ESCs, like a Sidewinder 4, Mamba X, Micro, stuff like that. But it is also smooth starting on the ESCs that I'll be coming out with as well. Which I'll have to talk about a little bit more of that in the future on the differences between motors that are going to work well with my speed controllers and the ones that are going to work well with universal speed controllers like Castle and Tekin, etc. But at any rate, this one will be coming out soon. It's a nice short 45 millimeter length for guys that want to compete. And as a matter of fact, you don't really need much more power than that, but being that it's a 6-pole design, it's going to start up really smooth, even smoother than the Team Edition Puller Pros that we recently came out with. However, it also lacks some drag brake and some torque density because of this. Not the end of the world though. There's always going to be that sort of trade-off with motor designs, and more than likely if you're going to be a guy that wants that really smooth startup but you want an in-runner and not an outrunner, then this is going to be a really good variation for you. So really excited about that. Also that it is going to work well with our upcoming speed controllers. And this actually isn't our speed controller, but it is a very similar size to a micro that we are working on. You can see it's very small. It's going to be more airplane style. The final version will actually have all the wires coming out of one side, and we hope to be done with those in maybe 2 months right now. There's some parts availability issues that I'm kind of worried about to fit into the normal manufacturing time frame. So it may end up being 3 months, but we are working on these products as hard as we can. I still don't have any names for them. So if you have some names for our new ESCs coming up, let me know in the comments. And if you come up with the name that we use for our ESC, I'll give you one. I think that'd be awesome. Because they make our revolver motors quiet, we've thought about using the silencer as the name. It's kind of funny. Again, we're really not trying to go down the gun route for any of our product names, but the stars are just aligning to be kind of hilarious on these products. And I just can't walk away from a joke like that. That's to call them the silencer. Maybe just like a short run. I don't know, whatever. But the big deal about these ESCs is that it will make all of our motors quiet. And there are some future ESCs that I'm working on with Castle as well that will have the ability to do that, but it's a completely different hardware base than what Castle uses. These will not be compatible with Castle Creations. They at first will not be programmable, but I can guarantee the programming will be on point. So as far as the smoothness, as far as having strong drag brake that doesn't just kind of hit you like a ton of bricks, as far as having really good low speed control, all of that sort of stuff I will have pre-programmed into here for you, so you actually won't need to tune them, at least at first. Down the road, we will be working on programming situations. I will have both by wire and wireless programming situations, but you know, the wireless one, let's be honest, it's probably a 2-year goal. I'm learning that programming is pretty difficult. The hardware design, I'm having an easy transition stepping from motor design into hardware design because I already know hardware for the most part, but then the programming that glues it all together is, as I've talked about before on this channel, it's another step up. But as soon as I get some solid hardware going, then I can focus on software. And as well as Jonathan, one of the guys that's been with us for a long time here at Holmes Hobbies, he is really good at software, and he will be helping us on a programming suite, which really exciting. Just, you know, big things for me in life. I'm nearing 40 and talking about learning C++. Didn't think that was going to happen if I'd talked to you 10 years ago. So let's see what else about these new ESCs. We're just going to go outside and we're going to try it out in this next video. So you'll be able to see it in action. If you've been watching our channel, our Instagram, our Facebook, stuff like that, you've actually seen it in action and know how quiet it is. You just hear the tire noise, the spur noise of the rig. And a lot of people, not everybody, some people like noise. Let me know if you do, but also let me know if you like quiet rigs. I know there's certain people that want to be out on the trail and they want a dead silent rig to where it's just the rustling of the leaves of your feet and the rig going through there kind of connected with nature. I really understand that. And so in the past, although I may have made some comments about the louder motors being more powerful motors, I also know that focusing on having quiet ESCs is a good direction so that everybody is happy. And I mean, I kind of like it too at this point. Although the noise feedback of driving a rig competitively, I like the noise feedback because it lets you know how much power that the rig is putting down. That is the big problem that I have with the silenced rigs, is that I have to watch the tires. Really, that's my next step, I suppose. I've learned that I watch the tires and how much the tires are wadding up and kind of like binding down to what the tread is doing and how the suspension is acting. I have to really watch the rig more so than having that audible feedback. So that's something that I'll have to get used to. And you know, you never know, down the road, maybe we can find some happy medium to where there's just a little bit of growl coming from the motor. Once I know software better, that's all software stuff. It keeps tying back to software. So I could probably just keep talking about this new ESC for a long time. Again, hopefully we'll have it in the next couple of months. And if not, you know, things happen. supply chains have been kind of crazy in this past year. And on top of that, maybe there's some hardware changes at the last minute. Hey, maybe we need to go with a different regulator on there, or maybe there's a motor that's causing some problems and we need to tweak our software a little bit better. Whatever the case may be, I'm just going to have to move on from that because I'm going to keep talking about it. So really exciting, really exciting. Let's see, what else we got? So daylight savings just happened. And that means that you should probably change the batteries in your smoke detector. And since it's a little alkaline 9-volt here, my cameraman tells me we can use a 3-cell LiPo, 20 milliamp hour maybe. I think that'd be perfect for these, just kind of cram her in. And how many years would you get out of that? Does anybody know how low the amp draw is on these? I assume it's pretty low to be able to work on this for a full year. The capacity in these 9 volts really isn't much. Although I've never tested it. I would assume it's probably like 900 milliamp hours at 9 volts just because, things. Anybody know? Let me know in the comments. It should have it in the part number maybe. They're not that good. At any rate, 3-cell LiPo, 20 milliamp hours for this year. And be sure that you change them out at least once a year. It's a good idea. Twice a year probably. The firefighters in your area will probably remind you as well. So I think that's about it for our end of 2020 update. Things are going swimmingly, it seems. I know y'all are liking your hobby stuff. I sure am too. And other than the pandemic pretty much ruining everybody's lives, just let me know in the comments if you felt that it's really put a damper on fun for you, because it's touched a lot of people. So at any rate, do thank you for joining us today. Thanks for tuning in, and as always, have a good day.